I had always watched those no sleep stories or those creepy pastas. My girlfriend used to fall asleep to it as white noise. I never quite believed any of them, but I don't know what else to conflate them to. My life is like one of those stories, but I'm living in it and I have no idea what the hell to do. It took 8 hours to get my last statement out there, and I don't even think anyone watched it. And I'm still trapped here. But I'm not going to let my story die here. If I am going to die out here in Carnia, I want people to hear what happened. And maybe someone will hear it and they can come find me. But even if they don't, I'm not letting my last legacy be me going radio silent. People have to know what happened to me out here. I guess I should start where I left off. I ended up recording that my camera from my phone is messed up. So I don't even know if there is any video. But despite the fact I couldn't get any calls or texts out, I couldn't check my social medias, my upload speed was just enough that I could get something uploaded to YouTube. It ended up taking 8 hours. I made sure my phone was plugged in, the car running the whole time. But I don't know. Eventually, when it was finished, I decided I needed to go to bed. It was dark, and I was just sitting using my phone and the LEDs of the vehicle for light. It took a while, but I managed to fall asleep. But I wish I had stayed asleep. I woke up to a strange sound of tapping outside of the car. It happened almost like they were on a timing of some sort. It was methodical, and it was on different sides of the car. I got freaked out, but I decided to grab whatever I could, and I just wanted to go open my door and look. There wasn't anything out there, but there was about a half a dozen different kind of footsteps all around my car. To describe I'm at loss to describe the feeling of dread that I felt, because it was a mix of human and some kind of animal I didn't recognize. Some of the tracks were wearing shoes, others were barefoot, and then again, one of those foot tracks didn't look human. I got back in the car, and I turned it on. It was not worth my life to stay out here. I will just drive back on the 2 fucking tires. Why not? Well, maybe I have to buy some new fucking rims. Who gives a shit? This was too much, and I need to get the hell out of here, no matter if my car was destroyed. I put it into first, and I started driving, and I didn't get to even make it far. When I had made the turn back to the T intersection, I wanted to make a left back the way I came down the County Road 1, but there was no T intersection. It was just one long, continuous road. Where that intersection should have been for my salvation was missing. I drove for about 5-10 minutes. As each mile went on, I could feel the car go from bald tire to wheel on the gravel. It just kept getting worse and worse, but I kept just pushing the car. Surely I was just missing the intersection. Maybe it was going to come up, but after about 15 minutes, there was nothing. I decided that I should just keep going down the road I was going down. Surely, at some point, it would reconnect with some kind of civilization, or I would get to a point where I would have service. But as I kept driving, it went from valley to deep, deep woods. I decided I needed to pull over and double check the damage on the rims. I was about half an hour away from Carnia at this point. Or at least I thought. Looking at the passenger side of my car, both wheels at this point were pretty fucked up. Most of the tire had been eaten through, and it was just bare metal straight on the gravel. It didn't matter. I just needed to make sure that they would still drive. The car was handling poorly, with it missing half of its tires on one side. But hell, I needed to get the fuck out of whatever the hell that was. I get back in the car, checking my phone just to make sure I didn't have any service. And it was enough that I had satellite. Tried sending an emergency message, but I just got busy tone. And looking at Google Maps, my dot hadn't moved from the same spot it was at. I thought maybe it was a glitch. I didn't really think much of it, but I kept driving. And I was back in Carnia from the opposite side. Right where the no outlet was last time, I was back in the neighborhood. It was desolate. It was quiet. There was not a single porch light on. No lights in the houses, but I knew for a fact that I was back in the same neighborhood with the weirdly kept lawns and the pristine houses with no one in them. I started to freak out. Pushed my car into higher gear, and I just kept driving faster. Past the business center, past the bar. Maybe I had missed a turn somewhere, and maybe it just looped through, but everywhere I looked to the left, it was just wilderness. I pulled the car over, and I decided maybe I just needed to sleep. I was away from hopefully whatever the hell that was, and I had been driving again for another 20 minutes. So even if it was just a giant loop, I was hopefully far enough away from town that whatever the hell had circled my car was far, far away. I got back in my car after checking the wheels. At this point, they were in pretty bad shape. I thought about maybe grabbing my spare, making it so we only relied on one wheel, and then if needed, I could swap on the other wheel, increasing the longevity of my drive. But I decided I should wait till daylight because I obviously was missing something. When I got back in the car and I fell back asleep after a long, long time, I swear that right before my eyes had closed, finally, for the evening, I heard 2 methodic taps. Waking up the next morning, I couldn't find any of the footprints like I had before, but in the daylight, it was clear that I had done significant damage to the wheels at this point. Looking at my odometer, I had driven about 45 miles. I decided to put the spare on, put it on the front wheel, so that way I could have as much of my power as I could, and keeping the front wheel in the back of my car so I could swap it out for the rear one if needed. Driving in the daylight didn't clear things up. Again, on the left side, it was just continuous forest, and eventually, after another 20 or so miles, I was back on the other side of Carnia. I don't know how to get the fuck out of here. And something's not right. Where the hell did those footsteps come from, and what the fuck is tapping at my car at night? Help me get the fuck out of here. Please. If anyone is listening to this, find me.